verse 12. Psalm 19, verse 12. And I'm going to read it in the ESV. I know I told you all King James. I know I did. From the ESV translation. And I'm not sure how much sermon this is going to be as it is me just pouring out of my heart. Who can discern his errors? Declare me innocent from my hidden faults. Keep back your servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be blameless and innocent of great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Lord, let what I say out of my mouth, thank God for one amen. And the things I ponder in my heart, I wrestle with in my heart. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Say with me, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable, Lord, in thy sight. O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Managing, and my sinuses decide to start draining out. Managing my emotions. On April the 12th, well, it was actually the morning of April the 13th, when many of you know I was in Israel. I was in the Leonardo Hotel in Jerusalem. Had a grueling schedule, and I decided I wanted to go to bed early and get some sleep. Went to bed about 10:30. About 12:30 in the morning, someone was banging on my door. And I said, "Who is it?" And he said, "Bob Scott, I need to talk to you." Opened the door. He was the director of our trip. He said, "Pastor Rogers, nothing's going on. Everything's all right. I just want to let you know that if anything does happen, I'll let you know. You can go on back to sleep, but I just want to let you know that if anything happens, I'll let you know." And so I got back in bed, and about 5 minutes later, I hear boom, boom, boom. And then the sirens went off. The sirens are supposed to go off, and then you hear. And about that time, a missile went over the hotel. See it out the window. Missile went up. We knew we heard the sirens. We were supposed to go out and go to the stairwell at the end of the hall, which had been fortified with extra concrete to be sort of like a safe place. And several of us, many of us staying on the same floor, went down and gathered in there. And the rule was if you don't hear anything after you stay in there 5 minutes, you can come out. And so we came out. And as I came out, obviously, all of our emotions were all over the place. It was all over the place. Had CNN on and they were just showing everything. And the Lord said to me, go back to bed and go to sleep. Go back to bed and go to sleep. Sister Rogers, about that time, texted me and said, the God of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps, so you might as well go back to sleep. And I went back to sleep. The next morning at breakfast, we all gathered there, and Bob Scott began to talk about what was going on, and everyone was just, our emotions were all over the place. Just was no way to describe what was going on, except I had this peace. The Lord had let me go back to sleep and sleep for the rest of that night. The Lord had given me peace. And so that morning when he's talking about it, everybody was just so disturbed. And he was saying, we'd love to let you get out of Israel, but there are just no flights out. Everybody that was in Israel, when it started happening, they started grabbing up all of the seats that were available. And there was one pastor in particular, and he was saying, well, listen, I got to go. He was some kind of, can I say pissed? Well, he was going off. He said, and Bob said, sir, we will, if that's what you want to do, we'll get you to the airport, but you have to know we have already checked. We've been online with our travel agency all night long trying to find if there was any way, there was any seat that anybody could, and he said there are absolutely no seats anywhere. And he said, well, listen, I got to go. And he said, I want to go. Just let me get to the airport. And he said, all right, we'll let you get to the airport. We'll do that. And so talked on. And as he talked, he began to calm us. Because he was calm. He began to calm us all down, except for one. Always one. I had read the book, and the book talks about how the pastor of the church has to come to understand what his emotions are and understand them and identify them. And when he is confronted with someone, for instance, that is really coming at him and, got an ought, said he has to learn to manage his emotions in that situation. And he can't manage his emotions if he's not become aware of what his emotions are and try to deal with them. If he's not done, then he's not going to be able to do that. He's gonna go toe to toe with the person that's coming at him, like I've done so many times. He said, but if he has learned to manage his emotions, then he is able to help the other person manage their emotions. And I watched Bob Scott as he did that. How his emotions were managed, but he began to help us manage our emotions. Even the one person. So after that was all over, few of us wanted to go out and do some emotional eating. Anybody know about emotional? We found a major restaurant. I mean, major restaurant. We were traveling all other times. I kept saying, is there any way we can go back to that mall and eat? And we went and ate a wonderful meal, wonderful meal. 2 doors from the restaurant was a Zara's. Y'all don't know what a Zara is? Yeah. And 2 doors from that was another store that was a men's store. And I was with him, and he said, well, let's just go in here and look. And so we went in and we looked. He looked, and he had some just major stuff in there. And he started doing some emotional shopping. I mean, he was finding stuff. And as he would pick up something, he said, Pastor, they called me Bishop. Bishop, you would look good in this. I said, no, I don't need that. And he kept shopping. And finally he said, well, let me just tell the truth. He talked me into some stuff. I mean, I literally got back to the hotel and said, what did I buy this stuff for? I don't need any more clothes. And I was just beating myself up. But this is what he said. He said, oh, I see what happened. Lord just fixed it so I could go shopping and get my mind off all that stuff that was going on. I don't even need to leave now. I done found a good place to eat and a good place to shop. Have you ever been in a predicament where somebody was challenging you, going at you, and you didn't manage your emotions well? Just sort of let me know. Should I preach this sermon? I should preach this sermon, shouldn't I? I was reading this morning in John 21, where it's also in Luke 22 and 32, where Jesus said to Peter, he said, Peter, I prayed for you that your faith doesn't fail you. And when you are converted, then strengthen your brother. And I remembered that if there's any disciple that didn't manage his emotions well, it was Peter. Remember, he just got through saying, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Just got through saying that. You know, he's feeling all good about himself. He's feeling good about himself. And then Jesus said they had to go to the cross, and then he rebukes. How do you rebuke Jesus? He rebuked Jesus, and Jesus had to rebuke him because he didn't wasn't manage his emotions well. And then you know the time when he told Jesus, he said, Jesus, I'll go to the cross for you, and I'll never deny you. And Jesus, we'll see about that. And he warmed himself by the fire, and he didn't manage his emotions well, and he lied. He lied. In fact, he was so bad at managing his emotions, he pulled out his knife and cut off the man's ear. You don't carry no knife, do you? The saints have gone from carrying knives to carrying guns, but that's another sermon. That's another sermon. James 3 says, but the tongue can no man tame. said, we've got rudders for ships and all of that we can steer them right. But the tongue can no man tame. Not even the pastor's tongue can be tamed. And the members too. And it's an unruly evil full of deadly poison. And this is what it says. It says, with the same tongue we bless God, and the same tongue we curse people. Which means that all of our emotions are not negative. Many of them are positive if you manage them. Because that same tongue can bless and the same tongue can curse. It depends on how you manage it. Am I making sense here? A friend that wrote the book, Dr. Maurice Graham, in his book, says that there are at least 4,000 emotional words in the English language that help us to describe our emotions. And they're going to put up, he says that you need to identify at least 30 emotional words that describe your emotions. You need to identify at least 30. This is my list. No, the list. Not that. Those. No, not that. My long list of the words. You don't have that? Okay, then I'll take that down. Wait, that's coming up. All right, so this is my list. And by the way, I've categorized the list of emotions. There are negative emotions. There are positive emotions. There are functional emotions. Isn't that, you know, that aggravating thing now when you go to a website and they say they have cookies and you can, you know, choose, and when you go in to choose what you want, they say that some of the cookies are functional, that they need to function. Some emotions we need to function. They're functional emotions, and then there are, you ready for this one? Dysfunctional emotions. There's some emotions that are acquired. We weren't born with them. We just picked them up along the way. So some of our emotions, I call some are default emotions. They're just default. We don't mean to get angry. We just go there. It just, I mean, we don't even know we're going there. It's just, it's a default. It's a default. Yeah. We get our emotions from impressions from life that we get. We get impressions. We get impressions from our family. They give us impressions that come out emotions. On our jobs, around people, we pick up certain impressions on our emotional system. The trauma that happens in our life marks us with certain impressions. I was backing my Suburban out of the driveway, and I forgot that I had parked the Mini Cooper in the driveway. And I backed and I heard crunch. I said, oh no, I was even scared to look. And I messed up the driver's side front fender. Just messed it up. Took it to the shop and the man, I asked him what was it cost to fix it. He gave me an estimate. He said $1,900 and some dollars. I said, oh, no. I can't spend $1,900 on getting this car fixed. I can't. I said, is there any way you can sort of just straighten out the fender and sort of get it, He said, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, he said, I can do that. I'll straighten it out, straighten the door. And so when I came back to pick the car up, he said, we did the best we could at straightening it out and all, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect. And I looked at it and I said, and he said, I'm not going to charge you anything for it. I said, oh. I said, it is all right. And so you've seen my Mini Cooper, Marie. Did you ever pay attention? Did you ever see the house? That's right. You would not notice it, listen, until you get up close on it. And then you'll see, oh, that thing ain't lined up right there. Oh. But from a distance, it looks good. Looks like it's fine. But when you get up close on it, you see, oh, this got some stuff going on. That's the way it is in our lives, as long as people see us from a distance. We look good. We look good from a distance. But, ooh, when they have to get up close on you, ooh, don't get married and live with some, stuff is not aligned right. Some impressions. But do you know what's important? Even though it's not aligned right, it's still functional. I can drive that thing. I can drive everywhere. Just rides good. Just rides good. It's still functional, but it's sort of messed up. Other side of this is, not only did I damage the Mini Cooper, but I damaged the Suburban. The Suburban that hit the Mini Cooper, it got damaged too. So this is what I'm trying to say. The impressions you got, you've been damaged for sure. But guess what? The person that damaged you, that hit you, they damaged too. And they're driving around functional until somebody else get up on closer to them, and they wonder, why are you so messed up? And they won't tell them it was what happened to me 10 years ago. And I've been functioning, but I've been functioning dysfunctionally ever since. We get some of our impressions from our dysfunctional family. Ooh. Ooh. It needs another ooh there. And this one more thing. If you see the Rogers from a distance, y'all see us at church, and that's a nice family, but don't you go to a family dinner. Woo! We functional in public. That's right. Let me tell you something else. You see some churches, and they just wonderful. They just growing, exploding, mega churches and got all that stuff, and they look good until you get in them. And we got little church stuff. Wait till you get the big church stuff. Did y'all find the list? Okay, put the list up for me. Say this. There we go. There we go. There we go. So this is when you go home, I want you to write down words that describe your emotions. Because in order to manage your emotions, you have to be aware of what your emotions are. It took me 3 days to come up with this list. Because I only had 5. And then I got up to 10 the next day, and I kept thinking about them, and I kept thinking them, and I finally got the whole list. You're going to have to do some work. If you want to learn how to manage, you can't manage what you don't know exists. You can't. You have to know what it is. Listen, it's a term I learned years ago. If you can feel it, you can heal it. But you have to become aware of what your emotions are. Am I unsure? That's that word that I wasn't supposed to say. Scared, offended, regret, nervous. Will you all see them? I think there's one I left off. For sure, I left it off. It's an emotion. Even at 75, it's still on my list, but I forgot to put it up. Passion. Did y'all hear me? Yeah. The good news is at 75, I still got passion. If you do any emotional passioning, how do I say that? If you do any emotional passioning, you know what emotional shopping is. Shopping and you ain't got no business shopping. You don't really have the money to shop. And but you still shopping. Emotional passioning, I'm coming up with the word, is when you shopping and you ain't got no business shopping. And you actually buying, taking it home with you and just, woo, if it ain't quite. Oh, I hit on the one. I finally hit on the one, didn't I? Anyone up here you can think of I didn't put up? Anyone? Anyone up? I didn't put up. I couldn't figure out how to say as cope, hope. I think I have that. Yeah, I have it up there. I couldn't figure out how to make it into emotion talking too much. I couldn't figure out how did you make that an emotion? Well, it's just talking too much. Any of them? No. You mean I got a complete list? No, you got some stuff in your life that I ain't got in my life. And I got some stuff that you ain't got, but you need to know what your emotions are. All right, let me close with this. Go to the list that you were putting up. Angry or anger was at the end of my list. And I only put it at the end of my list for emphasis. It really probably should have been number 1 or number 2. Because there are 5 levels of emotion, and I got this many years ago, and it doesn't quite fit in this sermon, but I just need to use it for. This is particularly true for men. Anger is really one of the only things we as men know how to express. We know how to get angry. Put what goes with anger? Blame and resentment is what anger is. You just mad, you just angry, and you just go off on folks. You go off on folks. Then what's next? Under anger is hurt. Is hurt. What is hurt? Sadness and disappointment. Sometimes we've never been taught how to express sadness and disappointment. We've been hurt. And we don't know how to express it. So since we don't know how to express hurt, we express the only thing we know how to express, and that's anger. Except we're not angry, we're hurt. Use me, Lord. The next level down is what? Is fear. When you are afraid, a man doesn't really know how to express fear because you're not supposed to express fear. And by the way, I think some of these are, I want to say transgender, but that's probably not the word to say. That's not the word to say. You understand that? Yeah. I don't want to say they go both ways. I don't want to say that either. So I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Fear is insecurity. But when you don't know how to express insecurity, the only thing you know how to express is anger. So you're angry, but guess what? You're not angry. You're really afraid. You're feeling insecure. Like it was on the trip. The brother was getting angry, and he wasn't really angry. He was feeling insecure. He didn't know if Iran might decide to bomb again. But since he can't express that, then you get angry. But that you're not angry. What's the next one? Regret. Whew. Guilt and remorse. So we really regret we said that. We really regret we said it. If we could take it back, we would. If we really have remorse, except we don't know how to express that. How do you express remorse? And you just and guilt. You don't know how to express that. So since you don't know how to express, you get angry. You get mad. You get angry. And guess what? But you're not angry. What's the last one? And buried under those first four, buried is love. You're really going through all that because the ability to forgive and the awareness of who we really are. Love. I really love them. So I'm closing with this. All of the marching that's going on the campuses, it looks like the students are angry. they actually might be angry. Except what? Except what? Huh? Except they really might not be angry. They might be what? They might be hurt. They might be fearful. They regret that it happened. But how do you express all of that? This is what you do. You get angry and you march. You know why you do that? Because we've learned it from our country. Our country's default when something goes wrong or you don't like it is you march. I get so sick of marches in D.C., churches from all over the country. They come in the march and they want the pastors in D.C. to join them in a march. And I told them, look, we had a march last week. We had a march the week before that. We're going to have a march next week. We can't be marching over everything you get excited about marching. No. We got lives to live. While you down there in the mall, we got to feed our children. We got to go to work. We ain't got to. We can't be taking off. Because that's our default. Anger is our default. So the reason you get angry so much is because you've got an imprint from the country you live in. Paul says in Romans 12:2, be not conformed to the pattern, to the imprint of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Don't continue to do what the world has imprinted you to do, but you do something else that's at the bottom is love. Now, the reason you've got to learn to do this, the reason you got to learn to manage your emotions, it's not just for you. But who is it for? It's for the person that's next to you. It's the person you live with. It's the person that you work with that doesn't have the Holy Spirit living on the inside and has not learned to manage their emotions. And once, Jesus said, Peter, once you've been converted, then strengthen your brother. So the reason you have come and heard this today is not just for you. In fact, this is the principle I've learned. Paul said to Timothy, the things you've heard me say in the presence of many disciples, same commit thou to faithful men who should be able to teach others also. This is the principle. There needs to always be somebody pouring into you. And there needs to always be someone you're pouring into. God bless you.
Amen. Can we thank God for that word? Come on, can we thank God for it? I know the hour is well spent, but that was helpful stuff that Pastor T.L. just shared with us. And I really want us to make sure that as we leave today, that we're not just hearers of the word, but that we're doers of the word. And so I want you to make sure that you do this week. He said that we need to identify 30 words to help us become aware, and that will give us language for what you're feeling. So these 30 words are really important because most of us, we only have about 5 words that we use for what we feel. I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm hurt, I'm disgusted, he said it, I didn't pissed. So you need to come up with some language to help you be able to describe what you are feeling. So I really hope that all of us, myself included, will do this work this week. Lady Keys, she tells me all the time, she says, you need to go to your emotions wheel. So there's this wheel that has all these words to help you come up with language for your emotions. And she has it on her phone. So she just sent it to me. So I now have it on my phone. You can use that. If you want me to send that to you, you can email me. I'll send it to you. You can use that to help you give language to what you're feeling. This is so important, y'all. This is so important. And if you did not know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Did you know that? So the first thing you need to do is you need to identify your 30 words. I hope 2 or 3 of y'all do that this week. And then I want to encourage you to do a second thing. We said it before we asked Pastor T. I was preaching. You need to take what you're dealing with to the Lord in prayer as well. Philippians chapter 4, verse 6, I believe it is, says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything with thanksgiving, make your supplication known to God and request known to God. That is telling God what you're feeling. Guess what? He can handle it. And you could keep all these stuff to yourself and you're saying, I'm not telling God about that. Guess what? He can handle it. It allows you to get it off of you if you at least take it to the Lord in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit, all because we don't take everything to the Lord. Yeah. Oh, what needless pain we bear. Come on. I promise you I'm about to give you the mic because I think that this last song that we're going to lift as we're leaving is going to help to really confirm everything that has been said. But then, so first thing is you got to come up with your 30 words. Second thing is take it to the Lord in prayer. Third thing is some of y'all need to go see a therapist. I believe in Jesus plus therapy. Pastor T.L. we drove up to Baltimore yesterday for the installation. He was sharing. He was preaching to me on the way up. He was giving me the sermon. He said this. He didn't tell y'all this part about the car. So when he took the Mini to get it fixed, they said the bill was going to be $1,900. And guess what? He didn't want to pay to have it fixed because it was too expensive. And the reason why many of us live with our dysfunction is because it's too expensive to get it fixed. He said it, I didn't, so I can't even take credit for that one. And many of us, we're living with stuff simply because we won't go get on a couch with somebody to help us work through. And you working through stuff, you got stuff that you need to work through. Pastor T.L. said he's 75. He's still working. Some of y'all older than 75, you need to work through some of that family dysfunction that you've been ignoring all your life. So I believe in Jesus plus therapy. Some of y'all this week, come on, you just need to go sit on somebody's couch. Can we thank the Lord one more time for Pastor T.O. sharing that with us on this morning?